What is up, YouTubes? Time to say farewell to 2020. And it was an intense year to say the least, and I think there were plenty of pros and cons, no shortage of cons just because COVID is terrible. But I definitely want to review the year, put a bow on it, and then we can just take that deep breath and move on and look onward and upward into 2021. And the thing I like about going through a year is that it's easy to just kind of fixate on a couple things and then you feel like the year flew by, but if you take that step back and you go through things one at a time, you realize there's a lot more to celebrate than maybe you initially thought, or you want to make sure that you hit on some things that are worth criticizing because you don't want to see them happen again in 2021. So that's what I'm hoping to do here as much as I can. This is the review video for MTG for 2020. Let's get into it. And let's start with the positives because I just feel like those were the most lost on us this year just because of how gloom and doom COVID has been since like February, March, give or take. So I want to start with the positives. And the first thing that jumped out to me this year is that Wizards just had a really good year for all of their specialty sets, like Jumpstart, Commander Legends, Mystery Boosters. I'm sure I'm forgetting something in there, but all of them seemed amazing. I mean, I didn't even get to play with a lot of them because of just my situation and COVID and all that stuff, but just reading about the people that got to, say, draft Mystery Booster packs or got to play a lot of Jumpstart. I got to play, I think, one game of Jumpstart. Me and my wife found one of those 4-packs and we shuffled them together and played, and it was awesome. You could just tell the work and the attention to detail and I guess maybe the process or formula Wizards has for creating those to play well within themselves was just fantastic. Can't commend Wizards enough. All those sets really well done. And that segues well into my next point, which is every set had at least a good, if not a great, limited environment. I think Draft and Sealed are the best ways to play Magic. I'd even put it above Commander, even though I love playing Commander. But it's just the most holistic, wholesome way to play the game, and every set was fun. Everything. Whether it was just me and my wife cracking packs and playing, or we were able to do a little pre-release with some friends, it was just amazing how much fun everyone had with every set, and everyone seemed to enjoy the cards they opened, the artwork they saw, and again, just how well that set played within itself. Cannot commend Wizards and their process for building great limited environments enough. Those teams working on those, really well done. Loved it. One of the highlights for 2020 for sure. Another awesome thing, I think, was that with it being the year of Commander and all these products coming out, I mean, I may have some mixed feelings on there being all these different card versions and the price of some of the products, but at the end of the day, supply was up and reprints came in and it just helped people have access to the cards they want and need for the decks they're trying to build. And to me, that is a huge net gain for the community, for the player base. Something that I enjoyed more as well as I saw all these cards coming out and sets coming out is I'd say, ooh, I really want this card. And I'd go on Card Kingdom and I'd pop in there and type in the card name. And then you'd see the all versions button and I'd click that and be like, oh, it's a reprint. Of course I knew that. And then I'd also see like, oh, it's been reprinted 4 times. But it was also cool to me, just, you could fixate on what works best for your situation. If you want the extended art foil version and have the most premium one for your deck, awesome. Or if you need the more budget friendly one, because that just works for what you're building, that's nice too. Like I think even if there are some negatives that people see around price and whatnot, the increase in supply, the different versions, and allowing players to have an option that works best for them or what they want, I think it was a really strong positive for 2020. And then I was really happy to see expansion sets get Commander decks because I thought the Planeswalker decks were just, I don't know, kind of lame. Like the Planeswalkers in them weren't very good. The players quickly got bored of them when I saw them crack them and start playing with them. Commander decks just seem to get more playability, players are happier, it gets a lot of staples into the hands of players that are probably going to love Commander and want to play it more. They just seem like a really smart and strong move by Wizards to keep creating products that match the needs of their players throughout their, we'll say, Magic career. So again, another big positive, well done Wizards for 2020. And really, I like reflecting on the positive because it just causes you to take that step back and review those moments of joy and happiness that you may be glossing over and just remember that, yeah, there was a lot more positive that happened this year than maybe I'm remembering or giving the year credit for, even in a year as rough as 2020. So let me know what your top lists were, whether it was Magic related or not. I just love hearing positive stories. So yeah, comment on it. I will definitely read it, respond, and appreciate you sharing that positivity. With that said, let's dive into the criticisms, and I'm gonna try and be as pointed in my criticisms and not ramble too much because there's some that you could just ramble about, but also the points I'm going to make aren't going to be unique. You've probably heard or read or seen them somewhere else, but I do want to reinforce them because they do concern me for the longevity of the game and are things I want to see changed. And I mean, I've interacted with people at Wizards more this year than I have before, being a featured content creator and streaming in the early access streamer events. Like, that's been great, and all those people I've worked with have been fantastic, and you can tell that they love the game and are putting their heart and soul into it to make it the best game possible. So I guess my criticisms are more for leadership, and if you're one of those people that are somehow in the position to make some meaningful change to the game or alter the strategy that's been adopted and painfully visible in 2020, I hope that some of this criticism just hits you in a way that it resonates with you and helps you, I'll say, refocus on your strategy for how we make and produce and share Magic with the world. So yeah, let's just come out swinging. First off, the card quality has to improve. Here's my card I opened in my only Commander Legends pack I opened on Christmas, and it's a Pringle, as we call them. It's a taco shell. I could not be more disappointed in this. Like, it's embarrassing, and Magic is the best card game in the world, and it seems like the card quality, we'll say, leaves a lot to be desired. And I don't think any amount of criticism or whatever I say will really change anything, but I hope just, like, can we just take more pride in what we're doing? You know what I mean? If we know kids are going to be opening these, our collectors, our players are going to be opening these, let's give them something they're happy to open, and not something that they now have a side project of trying to flatten out. Like, we got to be better with those cards. Speaking of cards, my next criticism is we have to improve the R&D process when it comes to how the sets we're releasing impact constructed formats. And there were just far too many bans for cards that were released and played this year. We have to raise our standards. And I get that Magic is an incredibly difficult thing to make and produce, and you're juggling, again, so many variables that are always in flux. And in no way, in shape or form, am I trying to diminish the accomplishment that is achieved when a good set is released. But there were some cards that were released that were obviously going to be problems. And I think I'm frustrated by that more than I normally would be, because there was also a lot more products released this year. And if we needed a card, say like Uro, who everyone knew was going to be a problem and most likely banned in the very near future, if we needed that card in the world of Magic, why not put it in a set or a product that isn't going to then hinder or hamper down on Standard and people's enjoyment of Standard, like cards like that do. Like, the game is refined enough and understood well enough to know that that was going to be a problem card, and we have to treat those situations better and handle them better. Let's just raise that bar as well going into 2021, please. Yeah, I think I have a problem with, like, the card quality and the cards coming out that get immediately banned, because it just creates a lot of feel-bad moments, especially in those drafts I put on for kids and during my volunteering time and showing the game to people, and when they come in with cards that other people have told them are banned, it just creates a lot of feel-bad moments. Can we try and limit or avoid those situations, please? Because it's just so frustrating, And then next frustration, Wizards, what's with all the FOMO? Why do we need it? What feels like layered in to just about every product, and it just seems like it's such an awful sales tactic. I mean, I get it's everywhere because it's effective, but it doesn't seem to align with what I would think of when I hear your mission statement of bringing people together through our shared love of games. You don't bring people together with, like, anxiety and building regret in their purchasing decisions and trying to make them impulse buy what you're putting out there. I get the response of, well, it's not for you, or don't buy it, because in my mind, I've had those snarky remarks when you're dealing with difficult people or someone who is just being overly negative, but that's valid criticism. It's a rather shady sales tactic that at its best would be considered, let's say, high pressure, and at its worst is like borderline unethical, and you just gotta be better than that. Magic sells itself. It doesn't need these awful sales tactics to get off the shelves, and yet it feels like it's being, I guess, leaned into more as opposed to trying to rise above it and be better than it. And I would just like to see, as we move forward, no matter how many products y'all put out there, that you don't lean into FOMO as a way to sell it and build up hype or build up this regret if you don't buy it. Yeah, I can't doubt that it's effective. It just feels like we should be better than that. And then to wrap up the criticisms, my last one would just be around the secret layers, because they are as FOMO as any product y'all put out. And of course, the Walking Dead secret layer easily has to be one of the worst things that happened to Magic in 2020. And I can't shake this very cynical idea that the reason these licensing agreements are being pushed is because it gets people nice bonus checks and not because it really grows the game. Because from what I've seen, the profits are being touted as the best justification for it and why it was a awesome success. But then when I see the output, when I see the cards that come out, I mean, they're terrible quality. There's nothing to be proud of there. So the idea that we're attracting people or building Magic's fan base up by interacting with other fan bases and showing them, hey, here's our premium foot forward, that's not building the reputation and, I guess, standards of what Magic has been and should be. And it's just something that was really frustrating, and I think a definite sore spot for 2020. No, the worst thing had to be that I didn't get a preview card yet again. Did not get a preview card, even though I tried to make my pitches and explain how I would make the best preview card video ever, and I would utilize the awesome mountains and such around me to showcase a card in such a grand manner as best I could. But I was really just told, you're not popular enough, so deal with it. But hey, we'll keep fighting the good fight. We'll get there eventually. And I gotta end the video on a positive note, because there's enough negativity. Let's end on a positive note. And I feel like I've missed the most positive thing about 2020. And really, it's to like you all, it's to the community. And one of the huge positives that I saw this year was how awesome it was seeing like LGSs find creative ways to get cards in the hands of players so that we could do our own little pre-release, or at least play with those that are in our home and get to experience Magic in some way, shape, or form, and do the best we could with the circumstances we were in. And that was awesome to see. And then you also look at just every content creator out there who's trying to continue making content regardless of size, to share the game, build the community, support each other. That was awesome. And then of course to you all who have been a bright spot to me throughout the year. When I see you commenting and I see people subscribing, it really means a lot, and I genuinely appreciate it. And then, I mean, last but certainly not least, to my Patreons and to Card Kingdom for sponsoring the channel, for y'all going out of your way to support me and make this content possible. Probably the brightest spot for me and the channel this entire year was just y'all's continued support. So I genuinely appreciate it, and I think 2020, if nothing else, brought us closer together, even though we had to be further apart. So with that, I hope y'all had happy holidays. I hope y'all are excited for 2021, and that 2021 brings us an awesome year to make up for 2020 and then some, because we all could use it. You know what I mean? But yeah, that's going to do it for me. Really appreciate y'all watching. Thank you for being here. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.